Deleted Session, October 17, 1977. Dare I say good evening. Your psychic work has given both of your lives an impetus, direction, challenge, and opportunities for accomplishment that in certain terms, at least, would otherwise be lacking. Had your goals previous to your psychic experiences been adequate to your natures and sufficient to you, nothing else would have developed, nor would you have been seeking so avidly answers to the kinds of questions that then and now concern you. You did not seek goals that could be reached easily by anyone, or even goals that you yourselves could be certain of attaining. You sought instead questions that would stretch your abilities and develop them, that would bring out all nuances before unknown to you. It is easy enough to at times look at others, perhaps now, for I am not saying that you do this, but perhaps romanticizing them, thinking that you would after all prefer a much simpler, more overtly physical existence, freed of any deep concerns about the nature of reality or the plight of the race. It is easy, perhaps, at times to have regrets, to wish that curiosity, the love of learning, the desire for knowledge, and yearning to help your fellow men. Rob noted, was Seth a bit amused here? Seth had not gone quite so far, and to imagine that had it not Rupert would be in excellent physical condition, and no one would miss the work that then would not exist. Nothing is worth what Rupert has put himself through, you both say. Rob noted, as I did Saturday night. They said, yet Rupert has put himself through nothing in those terms. That is, his condition is not from the result of, again, your psychic activities. Those he has been eminently able to perform and has done beautifully. The beliefs behind the entire affair were far more mundane, and his knowledge and yours has kept away many problems that might otherwise have occurred. There are many things I want to say, whether or not they can be said this evening. I did, however, have a few comments about the dentist affair. Briefly, Paul is a good man, quite concerned in his own way about the welfare of his fellows, and trying to help them in a very practical way. Mending mouths will be his pearly gates to heaven. He thinks he cannot change the world, but he can help the individual patient. He does have strong healing abilities. He is independently minded. Now, Rupert knew he had to have dental work. He wanted it done. His beliefs were not of the best at all, as far as physically getting to the office. He did not, however, imagine himself, for example, falling, except I believe in one or two very brief thoughts. Had you told him, never mind, when the time comes, you will make it, that would have been adequate enough. You did say several times, you'll be able to make it all right, and that was also adequate and a good response. To remind him, however, that others went up those stairs without a thought was no help at all. Rob noted intensely. They said whether or not it is true, for that aroused instant contradictions. I will take your hand if necessary, for example, would have been an adequate response. When you have then was Rupert's desire to have his teeth fixed, when it was obvious that he must, and his fear that he could not perform adequately at this time. That data exists in framework 2. There, computations involving yourselves, Rupert's conditions, the circumstances, and your dentist all went on with great rapidity. You know the solution. Paul's activities over the weekend, yours, the time of your call, the fact that he did have the time today, when ordinarily he would not. All of these issues were juggled in framework 2 to give you now the best possible solution, given the conditions in framework 1, with the desires and beliefs involved. It was ordinarily Rupert's loyalty to you that led him to see Paul in the beginning, because Paul had been friendly to you and you liked him. That feeling dissolved Rupert's fear of Paul as a dentist. The state of Rupert's condition is as I gave it. I will clarify, however, the I material. The pendulum was correct in that it was answering the questions Rupert asked. The I condition did result from fears, and in a way compensated for other improvements, but not in any specific manner. Rupert's general uncertainty and fears with the progress of his improvements led him to overcompensate in muscular terms, causing lacks of balances otherwise unnecessary as the large areas of the neck and jaws began to relax and release. The fear that the eye difficulty might be a serious disease caused further tension, of course. The knees are definitely continuing to release. The hands, fingers, arms, and neck areas also. You both believed for years, and many years, that if you were gifted, you had to do all you could to protect yourselves from others. Rupert believed that people hated you if you were different. Those beliefs existed, and Rupert felt that he was different from the time he was a young child. Those ideas from Freud, Darwin, and even the churches have been inherent in your civilization. To the extent that you understand this and combat those beliefs, you are free. Whenever you have serious doubts of any kind, they usually arise from remnants of that framework. There are indeed many questions that we have not answered. In a strange way, the depth of your understanding, to some extent now, determines how much I can tell you, and I am not speaking of personal matters here. Your remark about the dishes was most creative, despite the way the remark was put. Soon you will be able to stand and do the dishes, and just enjoy the task. That would have been excellent. To expect Rupert to do that the next moment, however, brought up instant contradictions. You did remind him of the joy he used to take in that activity, however, and in an important way, a conflict was resolved. He enjoys the dishes now, and he can say, before I know it, I can enjoy it standing up also. Paul reacted to Rupert's and your affection for him that already existed in both frameworks. He rather surprised himself, however, with his suggestion. Do you have specific questions? Ralph asked, are you going to end the session early? She said, it will not be as long as usual. Ralph said, I was just wondering how the season books we've started sending out will be received. They said, granting that probabilities operate, 2 people in particular will be quite interested. Rather importantly, however, your own view of the art world is changing for the better as you hear from individual artists in connection with our work, and those more positive feelings will definitely help now. Where some time earlier your feelings would have been somewhat detrimental. In some circles, I believe there will be a small furor, and the book will spread. It is very important that both of you realize, paraphrasing James, that the universe is with you, that it supports you. That belief will always bring the best possible development from framework 2. Rupert should concentrate on his creative work. You should both help reinforce each other's beliefs. in the actuality of framework 2, and in the safety in which your existence is couched. There are several good developments coming your way that I will let you discover, and there should be some definite improvements in Rupert's eyes. I would say, very quickly, that is the end of this evening's session, and a hearty good evening. Ron said, "Thank you," says good night.